We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Throws toward the corner of the end zone. It is intercepted! Intercepted! The Ducks have the ball!
To the end zone! Touchdown, Oregon! Mariota dives! Touchdown! They hand it off straight out! C.J. Verdell wins the game for Oregon!
Inside the 10! A hat-trick, a touchdown from Justin Herbert! Howard's going to run for it. Time runs out, and that'll do it! Welcome to the Big Ten, Oregon! They storm the field at Autzen!
All right, Duck fans, here we go. Welcome into a special bonus episode of the Ducks Rising podcast brought to you by Backer and Water Ave Coffee. You know myself, my co-host Travis. Today, we are joined by the one and only Geoff Schwartz. Jeff, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's wow. We're here. Like, last game of the season already is upon us, and of course, a lot matters. Which, you know, it's so funny. This rivalry between Washington has been interesting nationally because I don't think people realize it. Because for a long period of time, both teams were never good at the same time. Like, we were good, they were good, but now we're both kind of good. So it makes this rivalry way more fun.
Yeah, completely agree. Travis, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I saw some funny national narratives yesterday of like stuff about rivalries and why aren't certain games happening this weekend, and there was a bunch of people like Oregon State should be happening this weekend, and BYU Utah, and I believe that BYU Utah would be awesome this weekend, but I think people don't realize that Washington is our rival. People like still think of it as Oregon State.
Well, even Dan said that earlier this week. It's like, this game means a ton to me because I did not have much success in this game early in my career. So he's like, this is, one of those that's, obviously it's circled on the schedule every year. It's Washington, but they care so much about this game because of how his tenure started.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And, Washington fans still are clinging on to that hope that Kevin DeBoer will walk through that door before kickoff on Saturday. He's not going to. Sorry, Washington fans. It's not going to happen.
There's Penix.
Yeah. Whatever.
Well, they might be ramping up for another coaching search this year, so we'll see what shakes out.
Very true.
I don't, the coaching search this year is interesting because, Lane probably going to LSU. They just announced that Golish is going to Arkansas, I believe.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So, and then obviously Oklahoma State got filled, but there's just not a lot of like really great hires that are, I think, visible now. I mean, look, no one thought Lanning, I think, would be this good, right, when he was hired. So there's certainly the possibility for that to happen in other places. But these schools are going to be hiring, coaches that are just not the best of their profession. And that's what happens when you fire coaches and they all get fired in a given year.
Well, Travis and I talked about this yesterday, and we went through our, wild coaching carousel scenarios that, seem crazy but maybe could happen. And I think that, some of the big names, are yet to become available. I think it could still get really crazy.
The biggest name is Lincoln Riley.
Yes.
I don't think that it's a foregone conclusion he's back at USC next season. Mm-hmm. I don't know where that place is for him. I hope he stays at USC forever. But other than that, I don't know where that place is. But I think there is, if things break out a certain way, I don't think Lincoln Riley's back at USC next season.
Travis, do you want to lay out the scenario you gave to me yesterday for Jeff?
Well, I just mentioned, Riley's obviously buddy-buddy with Cody Campbell at Tech. He played at Tech. And, I was just trying to think of a scenario where Tech would have to flame out that gets Riley there. And my thought was, if they lose the Big 12 title game and then lose again early in the playoff, is that enough to nudge McGuire out? Maybe.
Well, no, but it would be that Florida comes calling for McGuire, and McGuire takes the Florida job, right? That's what it would be, I think, is that Penn State, hey, you want to come coach for us? And that job opens up, and then Riley, I think, is very clearly the number one option for Tech if that happens.
What do you think? I actually think so Zach put out a scenario yesterday that I think is totally realistic. If DeBoer loses to Auburn this week, do you think he just goes and takes the Penn State job?
He might take that job anyways.
And then you get Lane Kiffin at Alabama.
Lane Kiffin at Bama. Oh, LSU would be so pissed.
I know.
I just think DeBoer, it would be hard for him to, if he wins this weekend, he's in the SEC title game. It's going to be hard for him to leave then, given you're in the playoff. But if he loses this weekend, they're done. Their fans want him out. He probably has no interest in staying. I think Penn State might be just waiting on that.
Yeah, the thing about this coaching cycle, it's so interesting because a lot of teams are sort of in a waiting pattern, right? I think Lane's the first domino to go, and then once he goes, things will ramp up a little bit. I think he's going to LSU. That's what I feel comfortable with. I don't have any inside information, but it does feel like the Lane thing is so interesting to me because he's not even won anywhere. Like, this is his first year, and they're paying him a lot of money for a coach that hasn't been there before. So I'm very curious about Lane to LSU.
Yeah. Well, we already started a little bit. We're loading up a ton of content for you guys here today for this holiday weekend. If you're listening to this and traveling, hope travel's going smoothly. Thank you for spending your time with us. If you have not had a chance yet to watch Geoff's film breakdown from the USC game, I recommend you do that as soon as possible. Also, listen to Travis and my episode yesterday from the deep dive into USC. Kind of previewed the college football playoff rankings to come out. Make sure to do both of those things. As for today, we're going to give our thoughts on the new rankings that came out last night that were released, and what Oregon fans should be looking for this weekend, kind of rooting for as far as playoff seeding goes. We're also going to wrap up our thoughts on the USC game with Geoff and talk some about the Ducks versus them video that came out on Monday. Then we're going to dive headfirst into Washington week, preview this game, give you the full preview, what to expect. And then we're going to close out with some Autzen Airwaves and some listener questions. Does that sound good to you guys?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with the rankings. Oregon moved up to number 6 last night. They did hop in front of Ole Miss, which is important. Travis and I talked about that yesterday. Still behind Texas Tech, but Travis, I want to go to you first because, we talked about this possibility of them moving in front of Ole Miss and what that could mean for them. What did you think last night?
Yeah, I mean, it's massive. I don't really think Ole Miss has a chance now to jump back ahead of us, and number 6 has kind of been the prize that we've identified all along of a really advantageous path, given the difference in what the 10 seed looks like versus the 11 seed. So it looks pretty much like a foregone conclusion at this point. We're going to host at Autzen, but if you're thinking about hosting Notre Dame versus hosting Virginia, I think that's a pretty slam dunk answer in terms of which you'd prefer. You can try to game out different scenarios on the 2 seed versus the 3. There's situations that look good for us. There's situations that don't. So I think it's hard to kind of parse through that. But at this point, I think we're pretty locked into 6 or above, unless I think Bama is the only team that has the opportunity possibly to jump us, and that would mean them beating Auburn, getting in the SEC title game, and then winning that. I don't know what the committee would do in that situation. I could see a scenario where, as an SEC champion, they bump up and give them a bye into the top 4, but I think we're pretty clear as far as everyone else below us. So I think we're obviously in a pretty advantageous spot as long as we handle our business this weekend.
Geoff, your thoughts last night?
I think there's no chance Alabama jumps us if they win the SEC championship game. I just think there's just none. Why? We'd be 11-1. They'd be 11-2, obviously, with that extra game. You're going to jump 5 spots, essentially, ahead of us for beating 8. I think that's unlikely to happen. I want the 5 or 6. We're not going to get a bye unless Tech loses, and A&M would have to lose this week and next week, right, to drop out of the top 4. I feel like a bye is. I think you take the bye. I would rather have I'd love to have a home game. That'd be so much fun to have a home playoff game. And the 5 or 6 seeds where you want to be. You get the group of 5 team or the ACC team. We're going to be 17.5 point favorites against the SMU, whatever it is, 14.5 points. It's going to be at home, late December, a team from Dallas coming up north. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to have to, my biggest problem is going to have to be like either convincing myself to not go. Like, I'm gonna have to find a way to hey, I got these 3 work things to do. I just can't go because the Joe Moore Award would be presented the same week, and I feel confident with the way Oregon's playing up front that that's a possibility as well. So the double whammy, the Joe Moore Award, and then obviously a home playoff game would be hard to resist. I think the thing about where our team is at right now is I have not seen a team like this at Oregon where the injuries we've had and the confidence we're playing with, and just it feels like in every game, no matter what situation we're in, we're going to prevail. It didn't work against Indiana, of course, but that game was tied 20-20 in the fourth quarter. Like, the offense didn't play well. We got a pick 6. Like, it was right there for the taking, right? Like, every game we've been in, close, blowout, passing, rushing, whatever we have to do to win, we're in that sort of rhythm right now, I feel like. And so getting off next week and then getting to host a home playoff game. We're going to be healthy. We're going to feel much better about our offense. Like it's going to be really fun if that ends up happening.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that this team, I mean, we've talked about it a ton of times before, like their ways of winning, I think, is what gives me the most confidence. Watching them against USC, and we're going to get to USC soon, but watching how they won that and, that they had to rely on their depth, like that gave me the most confidence I've gotten all season. Like, okay, this team can do it. Before we get off of the CFP rankings, Travis, I know that you've broken down what we want this weekend. Can you go through that a little bit, like what Duck fans should be rooting for a little bit, at least watching, paying attention to?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely lean with Geoff there that Bama probably doesn't jump us. I just have seen the committee do silly SEC stuff in the past, so I think we're still on probably Team Auburn when we're looking at that situation. I mean, I don't know what they would do with Texas A&M if Texas A&M were to lose to Texas. They obviously looked bad against South Carolina. Their schedule is nothing. I don't know how you stack up 11-1 A&M versus 11-1 Oregon. I don't know if we're jumping up there, but I'm of the belief that I want 6. I actually think 6 is better than 5.
I was going to ask you that. What's the advantage of 6 versus 5?
I mean,
in your opinion,
you're playing a little bit harder first round game. I mean, Virginia or SMU is better than the group of 5 probably, but I think when you're looking at the second round, if chalk stands right now, Georgia's probably the 4. And I have coming off of not playing in that game. I don't have a lot of interest in playing a 4 or 5 Georgia with Ohio State waiting as the 1. I would rather be on the other side of the bracket. So it's hard to parse out all this stuff. I mean, you never know how it's ultimately going to shake out. But if Ohio State's a 1 and Georgia's a 4, I'll go ahead and take the 6.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's just. Oh, I went away from my notes there. Yeah, it's tough to kind of figure out which seed they're gonna get and who they would face. But one thing I did want to ask you, Geoff, there still is the possibility of Oregon getting into the Big Ten title game if Michigan beats Ohio State. What are your thoughts there? I know that Travis and I have talked about it. Like, no thank you. I think that I would like to see them. I know they'd never do it, but politely decline that invitation. It could obviously never happen, but what are your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, has anyone ever tried to decline the invitation? To be like, nah, I don't want to go. I mean, look, you don't turn down the opportunity to compete, I think, but with the offense right now, I think you're rooting hard for Ohio State this weekend. You want to get healthy, and look, I feel very comfortable that all 3 offensive linemen will be back for the playoffs. I don't think Poncho will play this weekend. Just my suspicion. I don't know. I haven't asked anyone, but he was in a boot to end that game. That was a pretty bad leg whip. Harkey did come back. World played enough to make you think that he'll be healthy enough this week. And Charlie, man, I'll tell you what. I ragged him last year. First, he was not good last season. He played really well last weekend. Like, I think you feel comfortable with that. The road environment's going to be a little bit tougher than playing at home, but a week to prepare. You feel good about that. Gary Bryant should be back for any sort of postseason run. I think Moore probably is back for mid-December. I know Oregon fans have a hope of Evan Stewart. I think that's very, very. I think I'm more likely to play in the playoff game than Evan Stewart is at this moment. I hope that he plays, but I do think Moore is probably back. So you get Moore, you get Gary Bryant back. Sadiq's a little healthier. 11 hurt his shoulder, so he gets 3 weeks to get ready. Like, I just think playing the Big Ten championship game is so counterproductive to what the end goal is, which is it's silly to say. It's why they're going away. I think these conference championship games, like Ohio State, Indiana. Why do they care about that game too? Like,
They should.
It should. And so, I think that's where I'm at with this game. Like, if we play, we play. Great. Let's go win a game. I'd be fine if Oregon sat at home.
Yeah, I would love them to be able to say that. Yeah, they won the Big Ten 2 years in a row, their first 2 years. Like, that would be awesome. But when you consider what could happen if they went and lost, and when they're banged up, and then maybe their seed gets even worse if they lost. I mean, because what if they get blown out just because they're not healthy? Then it could just be detrimental, I think, to their entire chances.
Yeah, I mean, that's the situation. It's one thing if you're going into that game knowing both of these teams are going to get a first-round bye, and therefore you're going to have some time after it. But I think we would be entering that game in a situation where if we win, we have a bye. If we lose, we're right back where we are now and hosting a first-round playoff game. So you're basically just taking away the rest that you need. So I think If you're the 1 or the 2, I get it, where you're like, okay, well, we're getting time off anyways, all good. This is almost like a tune-up scrimmage game. But in our situation and our injury right now, I just think it's a tough task.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's wrap up the USC game. We talked about it a lot yesterday, Travis, but Geoff, I'm curious if you have any overarching takeaways that you want to discuss from this game, things that stood out for you.
Well, look, I think that our offensive line, man, the touchdown throw from Moore to Sadiq, you have 3 backups in. It was Roger's second play, and he locked down, Fox Crater. They did a good job just schematically, I think, of sort of making sure that he was not put in bad situation. He looks like legitimately our left tackle next season. Like I think that you can avoid the portal possibly there with him, and just the resilience of that group. Look, Will Stein, being forced is the wrong way to put it, but like having to use Sadiq as a wide receiver, which I've been begging him to do all season, has really paid off. He's just unguardable. You look at even previewing Washington a tiny bit right now, like Washington safeties do not cover very well. Like it's a great matchup again for us this weekend. You can't cover Sadiq. And I really thought that last drive of the game was like a Will Stein masterpiece. Like they ran the ball in a variety of different ways. They had easy passes for Dante Moore. That 4th down sneak was dumb. I think if you asked that back, you would do something else there. And then you go up 35-14 probably. And that we obviously scored on in special teams. Look, the defense, man, I don't know what to make of it. Miles' time to throw was 2.42 seconds, which is supremely fast. He averaged about 3. When he had to hold the ball a tiny bit more, we hit him. And that's what every team is doing. They're throwing the ball so fast on us because our defensive line wins so quickly. And what do you tell the wide receivers? Like some of the plays, Lane just boxed out a true freshman. Like it's going to happen, I guess. And other times, double a 2-hand push off. Like, okay, sure, don't call the OPI, but Washington's not going to do that to us. It's not what Boston does. It's not the routes he runs, even if it's healthy. So even Jeremiah Smith, like that's not the style of football he plays. So I thought our defense was fine. They averaged 500 yards on offense. We held them to 50 yards rushing. Their longest rush of the game by running back was 6 yards. 6 yards. 6 yards. And so I think our defense is right where they need to be. They played a ton of zone, which I liked. The interception was great. It was did the videos inverted cover too. Like I think our defense is fine. It's fine. And so I take away that we beat a team that we're much better than. That game should not have been that close. And it really didn't feel that close. Even up 8, it didn't feel like it was that close in the end. And then USC is just a bunch of clowns as usual, right? Like just, the media guy thing. I get it. They do it for other teams, but still that's clown behavior. Like you're previewing the game you're playing now. I don't want to give them free advice, but I've said this for years now. You have to stop living in the past. Like that's the number one problem with USC. Even our dude Gavin, right? He blocked me on Twitter. To the rebuttal to Dan's video and to what you posted was to put up that they won 11 championships. That's the exact thing that we're mocking you for, is that you are stuck in the past, USC. So I don't know. I hope they keep being stuck in the past. But anytime you beat USC is a ton of fun. And I thought it was a good team win, man. Look, it was sloppy penalties, and the Benson penalty was a bonehead play. Luckily, we got bailed out by that jumping over, the leaping penalty. But to win a game like that, where you don't play very well, you score 42 points, your defense has its worst game of the season, and look, you still had USC under their yardage, under their points. Like, it wasn't all bad.
Should we get right into the Ducks versus them? I think we we kind of want to talk about it. Travis and I were going to yesterday, and we forgot and then said, hey, this would be a good thing to talk about with Geoff. So we don't always do this, but this was like a Pantheon episode, and
it was
like
incredible.
You said, it's fun to clown on USC. So do you want to go around and just name our favorite moments from the episode? Travis, you start.
Sure.
Well, what was interesting is I was at, our seats have a perfect view to where, as Geoff said, our buddy Gavin was. And I noticed that before the game. I was like, who is that guy out there and what is he possibly doing? But I didn't realize that, of course, in our savvy media guys would be capturing him from every angle out there, doing whatever possible antics that was. I mean, you expect to see that from players. It just reminded me of the 2023 Colorado stuff we captured before the game. That was like the immediate thing harking back to. But I mean, you just knew Dan had this one circled. You knew all week they were going to be capturing this stuff. I just thought all the little digs. I mean, the song at the end, There's just a lot of little subtleties that were kind of shot throughout, I suppose.
The Bryce play being called Trojan, I just loved. Like, that was, I don't know that was called Trojan all year, but this week they're like, oh, we're going to use it.
Yeah,
Trojan.
you mostly call those plays in a given week like by the other team's name. So like it would be Husky this week. Like that's typical, I think.
Okay?
I just love, like, think about that play for a second, okay? Mm-hmm. You're playing a top 15 team in the country, and you put 2 defensive linemen in and your middle linebacker running back because you give zero shits that USC is going to stop you. Like, think about the balls of that play. Like, you wouldn't do that against Indiana. People don't understand the way trick plays work. I bring this up a lot. You often run them against bad teams because they're going to work against bad teams. You can't run them against Indiana. Like, people don't, they try to trick plays. It worked last week. It rarely works against us. Like, you can't trick play good defenses. And you want to lose an Indiana game because you ran a play to Bryce Betcher? No, you do it against USC because if you miss on it, guess what? You score the very next play. I love, by the way, who was the USC player pointing to his ring finger? Like, bro, what ring have you won? You were 3 months old when USC last won a championship.
It was their DB about 2 minutes after he had a PI to basically seal the game.
What was he do? What was that for? What do we anyone ask him? We should ask him. Like, what are you pointing? You're not Aaron Donald. What are you pointing at? I don't understand. Like, what? It's just, the thing about Gavin, right? And the thing about the game notes, right, is that I know people say, well, the game notes are not written by the coaching staff. Agreed, but Lanning doesn't run a program where that would even be considered, right? It wouldn't be considered that your assistant AD and director of player relations, even if you know the players on the other side of the field, would be near midfield before a game talking shit to the opponent while the Oregon band is trying to play. Like, all those things are not going to happen in a program that's well run. The thing about it is that Lincoln Riley's program is not well run. And so you allow these things. And I mean, imagine knowing that the way Lanning motivates his team and putting out those game notes anyways. It's a complete mistake.
Just handed him bulletin board material. Like, you just handed him a victory. That was wild.
It's all emblematic of just Riley top down. I mean, you've heard him for 2 years complaining about the conference. You've heard him complain about the travel, even though they chose it. You hear him complain. You listen to his post game comments and compare it with Dan after, say, the Indiana game. I mean, Dan after the Indiana game, we need to do better. That's on everything's about us. Riley after this game and every other loss, like, we were 2 plays away. We're a heavyweight. We're right there. Just like the language permeates the entire building, and the way you run things permeates the entire building, and then you see stuff like this, and it makes a lot of sense.
Well, and then there's the whole thing about him getting on the reporter, who I actually know, who's the USC affiliate for USA Today, who about that question, saying, like, that's the stupidest question I've ever been asked. You should be embarrassed. It's like, can you imagine Dan? Like, Dan maybe sometimes doesn't have a great relationship with media members. I am very aware. Can you imagine him ever saying that to anyone, though, public? Be like, you should be embarrassed by yourself. Like, it was insane.
Isn't it more like him and just Crepea go at it? Like, that's
they
about
do,
it. Like,
and that's
whatever,
fine.
that happens.
Everyone
yeah,
goes at it with Crepea. Crepea goes at it with everyone. So,
it's his goal. Like, that's great. Like, that's what it's about.
Fine.
Like, to your point, like, Dan would just not do that. He just wouldn't do that.
I loved the, don't tell me what you did in 1999. It's 2025. Like, just everything that Oregon fans have said, like Dan just said. And it was just fantastic. I love that. Bringing up Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, like, great. Chef's kiss, no notes.
Because, look, USC, Reggie Bush has a pull on this generation still. Yeah. And he should. He's an incredible football player, and he's on TV now. And, all these kids that grew up playing college football, like 25, like, not 25, I should say, college football, back in the day, like, that was the guy, right, in the video game. So, like, everyone knows who Bush is. So I think that was a smart pull by him to go that direction. Look, he's an outstanding motivational coach. Like, he knows how to get the best out of his players. They this year specifically, again, I mentioned there's what's the right word? Like, aura is not the right word, but just like there's like a vibe of just supreme confidence that whatever they're called, whatever they're going to do is going to work out in the end. And it has for the most part this season. And the team, I think, plays like that. The coaches coach like that. And it really shows on the field each and every week. I feel like this team is very confident right now.
Yeah, I agree. Travis, you got anything else on Ducks versus them? Jeff, you either?
As long as we handle our business this week, just excited for next week's.
Oh, can't wait.
Excited for that one. I think that, unfortunately, Jed is a little bit smarter. Although he does have that sign in his office. That's
Jesus,
what is the sign? What is it? Beat Oregon?
Just a huge Beat Oregon sign in his office.
That's insane.
Yeah. Will we take it with him to Florida, you think? Or you think he's going to he'll bring to UCLA with him? He's a betting favorite to land at Florida. I can't get a sense on what Florida's going to do.
I don't know. I mean, like we said earlier, it's all what Lane does, the dominoes.
I mean, I still remember the 2023 Oregon State game. I mean, 2 hours before the game is when the Jonathan Smith stuff started picking up. I mean, I remember there was just a huge sea of Oregon fans just yelling at the Beaver players warming up, like, hey, your coach is gone, you should probably check Twitter. And, like, I mean, I don't know when stuff will break if that were to happen, but there's a very real situation. His mind is a little elsewhere this weekend.
I remember that specifically, and that's when it tends to break. Like, the tweet happens, like, during the game or right before the game. Like, I would imagine before the Egg Bowl on Friday, we'll get a Lane tweet. I mean, we're getting it now. These coaches are starting to make their move, and they're getting out in front of it right now, and it's going to be fast. I mean, I bet by the weekend is done, every job will be full. The main ones that are open now will be full up.
And I mean, that's what happened with Kenny Dillingham in the Oregon State game back in 2022. Like, we didn't know why the line was just dropping during warm-ups, and then after the game, it came out that Dillingham was going to ASU. It was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah,
I think the interesting thing with Fish is, assuming Lane does go to LSU because he's obviously Florida's first choice. I'm just wondering in this NIL age. We kind of joked about what salary he would take at Florida. I think him being a Florida alum and really wanting that job, I think you can see advantages for Florida, even if Fish might not be the hot, like, crazy name of, like, giving him a lower salary but a ton of NIL money and a ton of, like, roster resources. I think there's scenarios where when you bring in an alum like that who really wants the job, you can maybe resources-wise move things around to where it makes sense for both parties. So, I don't know. I mean, Drinkwitz, Braum, you hear other names out there, but you got a guy who's probably not going to leave in Fish, and maybe you invest a ton in your roster, try to get guys to stay, bring other guys in. They can bring Damon Williams with him, Sounds good to me.
I mean, Damon Williams, they can't score against good defenses, so maybe we could keep him as long as possible to not score against good defenses.
Yeah. All right, let's look ahead to Washington. I think starting with Oregon's offense, Jeff, do you have any concern about personnel here? Obviously, you want the starters out there, but the backups played well versus USC. Do you have any concern that they could at least do this again on the road if they're forced to?
I can't figure out Washington's defense, guys.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense. So they're 45th in points per drive on defense, which is good. I mean, that's upper half of college football, but they're not particularly good on third down, all right? Their pressure rate is bad. Their havoc rate is one of the worst in the country. So no tackles for loss, right? No pass breakups. They've only forced, I want to have the right number here, I think it's 37 punts all season on defense. 37. For reference, Oregon is like in the 60s. They don't force punts against the four best teams they played on offense, right? So that includes Ohio State, Julian Saint's first road start, Rutgers at home, Illinois at home with a bad offensive line, and Michigan who can't pass the ball. In those four games, guess how many punts they forced in those 4 games?
Less than 10.
5.
Jeez.
5 punts. So
wow.
And yet Michigan scored only 24, Rutgers 19, Ohio State 24, and Illinois 25. It doesn't make sense. Washington only forced 14 turnovers this year, so it's not like they're forced to just missed field goal, like a fumble, another missed field goal, a fourth down conversion that gets stuff. I don't know what to make of Washington's defense. They don't have their numbers. Their numbers are good, but then you look at the sort of court. I don't get it. I don't get it. They have not. I think our offense now is much better than the Ohio State offense they played in Week 5. I think this is the best offense they played. It's the best offense they played in months, right? I mean, in a month they played Wisconsin, Purdue, and UCLA. I mean, who am I worried about? Like, I don't. Give me the guy I'm worried about. Yeah, their secondary is fine, but they haven't played. Who have they played that can pass the football like this? Their safeties are not good in coverage. Again, they don't rush the passer. They don't sack the quarterback. Like all these things that are important. The tackles for loss don't have them. So I don't know what to make of this Washington defense.
We asked this ahead of the Iowa game, Travis, and considering how well Oregon's defense is playing, I think it's fair to ask again. The Ducks need to score how many points to feel comfortable winning this game?
Probably high 20s.
You think it's that much?
I don't know. I mean, I think this is Washington's Super Bowl on offense. I think that Fish has probably been planning for this game for a long time.
Has he?
I wouldn't be surprised if they... I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. You're not going to shock me if they get to 21, especially if they were to score late or something. So I think if we're in the mid to high 20s, we're probably good there. I mean, I think they have a couple... I think the good matchup for us is that their best two players on defense are probably their two DBs, but we don't really need to throw to our wide receivers that much, given where we're at right now. I mean, I think we can use the middle of the field in the pass game and then just run the ball with a lot of success.
Correct.
The reason I ask about the points is, I mean, Washington has faced 3 legit defenses this year: Ohio State, Michigan, and Wisconsin. They have scored 6 points, 7 points, and 10 points in those games.
And remember, I think if the Wisconsin game, by the way, they had a punt return down to the 1.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't score an offense on their own. They didn't score a touchdown in that game on their own.
I think if Oregon scores 20 points, you win by 7. Like, I think that's kind of your barrier. If you go past that, I think it's a blowout, but I don't know. Defensively, I think Oregon should be very, very fine in this game.
I will say this: if we allow a quarterback run on 4th down again, I'm gonna call Dan Lanning myself. It's like, Dan, what are we doing here, man? That's our worst play now for 4 years. Quarterback run. Yeah. Indiana got us on it. Iowa got us on it. Iowa got us on it. I don't get why we can't. Now we defend the quarterback run well when it's not 4th down. Like Penn State, we did a great job of the zone read. Now, DeMond Williams, though, is not a big... They don't use him a ton in the run game. He's a scrambler. Like, no one's open. He runs down the field. So how do we spy him? Mixon's played really well at linebacker, but is this a Jackson game? Because we want to have his speed on the field. Like, I don't know what we do. Do we move Flowers down the box and have him do it? I mean, I think that 31 ends up being the guy that does that because he's sort of like the middle of the 3 safeties in that cover 2 look. I'm just not. Their offensive line's super beat up still. I think those guys are not going to play, is what it sounds like. Or one's going to have to play with a club on his hand. Good luck against our defensive lineman using one hand. So I feel good about where our defense. Please no, pass interference penalties. And again, Boston's really, really good, but he's not the USC guys. He's a different style of player, and he's beat up, right? Boston's hurt too.
Yeah,
so
hurt.
Coleman's a little beat up. And so I feel good. Again, I see people. People talking. I heard a podcast like, I don't know if I can trust Dante Moore in this spot.
What?
We played at Penn State and Iowa already. Like, what do you mean we don't trust him in this spot? The guy that I don't trust, but like if Picker's playing center, it's a different. He hasn't played in this spot before, but Dante Moore has certainly proven he's good enough to win in this spot. Just run the football, do some good things. I feel good about where we're at heading this game. This number is as low as it is because of our injuries. I think if we were fully healthy, this number would be closer to 10 or 10.5.
That's where I was going to go next. I was shocked to see that it was only 6.5. It felt like Vegas knew something that we didn't right away. Like, I thought this line would be closer to 12 or 13, but I was surprised to see 6.5.
I mean, dude, the Iron Bowl is 5.5.
That's true.
I think they look at these spots and the emotions of them and what they mean and just think like this is just a very tough place to play, which it certainly is. And Washington's so much better at home. But I think I don't have it. I mean, to lose this game would have to be a game we have not played this season. His Indiana game, turnovers and just poor. But we're not. The Indiana game, the thing that bothers me the most about that game is I thought our offensive game plan looked like we were scared of Indiana, and looked like we didn't trust the personnel we have. I think if we played them again, we'd be much better at passing the football, even with the lack of players we have now.
Travis, any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the whole key, obviously, defensively, is just focusing on DeMond. I mean, he's basically their entire offense. And we saw last year, I mean, I think a lot of people think of him as like they think because he's a good runner and a scrambler, like he's hard to sack. He's actually very easy to sack. If you just take away his first read, he'll tend to just like put his head down and try to run around in the pocket. He'll just run into defenders. So I think the biggest key of the game is obviously just spy, but like rush with a plan. The last thing you want to do against him, like I've watched a lot of Washington this year, and last thing you want to do is have your edges just like running upfield with no plan and he's escaping out, and that's where he can make some plays and, you know, allocate some resources, obviously, when it comes to that. So I think the biggest thing is just like keeping him in the pocket, taking away his first read. I think you're in a really good position then as long as you're scrambling. But yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you, Jeff. I think I have PTSD from just QB run game against Oregon over the years. So, I mean, I got to think, you know better than any of us, I got to think this is a game where that 3 safety cover 2 look is going to be an advantageous one.
Yeah, we sat in that against USC too. I mean, the thing about stopping the run against USC is we did that primarily with just the 4 guys in the box. Like, I mean, like we just did. It wasn't. We didn't have devote any resources to making that happen, which is really good, right? And look, guys, when you run zone defense, there are times you are man-to-man in zone defense. I think people do not understand this is especially in quarters. So you can be in zone and also be man-to-man. So I mean, people did like, oh, how's he man? Well, that's what happens. I do wonder if at the end of the USC game we stop pressing so much. I wonder if that's a thing we just do on Boston. Like, we're not going to press you, but look, you can double Boston or put Finney in him and double someone else. I mean, I'm not worried about anyone else. I'm just not. And you're right about Williams. First read, drops his head, moves it along. Just have to contain him, get him to field goals, and just offensively, just play our game, man. Run the football, take what's there, take a couple shots like we normally do. Find Sadiq. Johnson's been great, man. He's been so good for us. And I think too, we're like Whittingham seems he's getting better. Hill's getting better. David, like these guys are just getting better throughout the season. So it's really fun to watch.
Score predictions. I've got Oregon 28, Washington 13. What do you guys think?
I like a 31-17 type game.
I had 31-24.
Yeah.
31-24.
I'd be surprised about the 24 unless we did something really dumb.
Too.
Our red zone defense, though, is kind of surprising. I don't really have a great reason why it's not good. Other than our linebackers, I think that's probably the problem there. But Betcher played really well last week. That might have been his best game of the season.
Well, then it's just surprising, like the head scratcher was just throwing Mixon on Lemon on that first drive and just like having him man up. Just like, I don't know if they're in man, but that was his job.
I think it was who's number 5
for us, Theron.
Yeah. I think Theron was supposed to be a little lower. And because of the way the wide receiver ran, he just never got that low. I don't think Mixon was supposed to be 1-on-1 there, but then they did. Lemon, we stopped him pretty well. Look,
good job.
I mean, it's just like the 4th and 10 where they got 50 yards on, like that inflates the game so much. Like if we stop on 4th and 10 there at the end, Mava throws for under 300 yards, and you're like, great job, guys. But it just didn't happen that way. It's just kind of unfortunate that they just bullied us out of the ball. So I think it's a good learning experience for our defensive backs too. The opportunity to play a team like that'll help us in the postseason.
Absolutely. Any other notes on Washington? Either of you?
I don't know. I hope we beat their ass and move it along and get ready. I just think we're really good right now. I know people are starting to talk about this championship thing. I think it's too early for that, but we're playing good ball. Again, I don't know if Gary Bryant's back this week. Do you guys know?
I would be surprised.
Yeah, no more, no Stewart. So look, man, gotta have guys step up. McClellan's been great, and Benson's been great. Perry's very active, like he can make plays, just don't give him the ball very much. And Sadiq's been fantastic. So I like our game plan.
Travis and I talked about this yesterday. I don't know if the emergence of Sadiq is more of like we talked about earlier with maybe them being their hand being forced and they have to go to him, or the fact that he was banged up earlier and they kind of wanted to wait until this time of the season to start using him and peaking at the right time. Do you know if it's one or the other, or feel one or the other?
It's because of Todd McShay, of course. McShay is the one who
it is
drove.
Because of McShay. Yeah.
You won't admit it's wrong either. It's so funny. I I think it's a both. I think that they have been forced to use him this way. I think they tried not to do it. Look, there's a lot of mouths to feed, man. Like when you're fully healthy, and so I think they just didn't have to use him in this way, and now they have to. Again, Washington safeties. I mean, look, I got some numbers here that their safeties are not good in coverage. So
those are your numbers.
Like their defensive QBR on both their safeties is like it's in the red. It's not great, and so. I mean, their safeties this year have a total of 5 pass breakups all season. Not great. So I think this is inside the numbers type of attack, and they've done a good job of mixing and matching where guys are going to be at. And again, I think their defensive line to me is not much of a concern. I don't really think that they're a group that we have to worry about terribly much. I mean, they could win a couple reps here and there, but they just don't have a ton of sacks. I mean, their sack leader right now is 3.5 sacks. Mm-hmm. That's it. 3.5 sacks.
Yeah. Travis, anything else?
No, I mean, I think I know they've allowed a ton of, like, big games to tight ends throughout the season. I saw someone post yesterday about just, like, a bunch of tight end opportunities that they've had, given up 6-7 catches to guys throughout the year. So, yeah, I think middle of the field to those guys. I think a lot of our success in the past game has been, like, play action the last couple of weeks. So I think as long as we're running the ball with success early in the game and then opening up some shots, I especially think in those like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 situations where we had a couple shot plays last week and hit Johnson and Sadiq, I think those guys are going to have opportunities in the middle of the field. But I think obviously it just gets back to the run game being clean, being ahead of the chains. So I'll be kind of tracking the O-line and how things shake out this week. I mean, it'd be huge to get Poncho back. He wasn't moving around like we were sitting right in front of him. So I was kind of watching him, and he tried to go back in. He put back his cleats on and was like going through practice reps and stuff on the sideline, but you can tell he's a little gimpy.
Yeah, watching him walk off the field after the game, it was like, all right, he's hurting for sure. But of course, who knows how bad it is.
He's a big boy. He's one of those guys I don't think would play well with an ankle injury. Like, there are guys that I think can like make it work. I don't think he's one of those body types that's gonna like play as well with his ankle a little less than 100%.
Yeah. All right, I want to get to our Autzen Airwaves here in a sec, but Travis, it feels like a good time to remind everyone that National Signing Day is a week from today, and the Ducks, as always at this time, are a team to watch.
1 week away?
It's a week from today. Yeah, it's early this year. The Ducks are always a team to watch when this time comes. Like Dan Lanning loves nothing more than the fireworks in early December. Who do you think is out there for fans just to pay attention to? Anything that you're comfortable divulging here?
Yeah, I mean, I think rather than specific names, I think just some things to track generally. I mean, right now we sit, depending on where you look, definitely in the top 5 classes in the country, like usual under Dan. The best average recruit ranking by far in the country, which is arguably a more important stat than overall ranking. I mean, USC likes to boast right now that they have the number 1 class in the country. I think they have 36 commits or something crazy.
Yeah.
So I think if you ask anyone who really cares about recruiting, which class would they rather have, it would certainly be ours, given the average recruit and some of the guys we're bringing in. But I think as we get down the stretch here, positions to watch specifically: wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, and DB will be 4 positions I think we're looking at closing strong at. I know over at Ducks Rising we'll probably have some names and some updates as things get along there. But I think another thing to remember is the portal has been really freaking good to us. And one of the quotes we constantly bring up from staff is like, why hit 40% out of the prep ranks if you can hit 90% out of the portal for oftentimes like a fraction of the cost? So I think just being mindful of the fact that like roster building is going to happen in this early signing period in early December, but then when the portal opens up, I think that's your chance to like bring in proven guys that are going to help you when going into next year. So definitely a push and pull a little bit when it comes to those two things. But I think a lot of it obviously will depend on what kind of money we're going to need to bring back, hopefully, a good chunk of our roster as well.
This class excites me so much. Like, just some of the guys, some of the names in this class. Like, even the lesser known, I wouldn't say lesser known, but not the high profile guys. Like, I think I may be most excited to see Tredarian Ball. Like, that guy is so good. Watching him at Saturday Night Live last year or 2 years ago whenever that was. He was the best player on the field. Jalen Lott, his highlights, incredible. I mean, Kendra Harrison, like, you talk about this wide receiver room and tight end room that Oregon might have next year. We talked about it yesterday, like, Oregon could be tight end you pretty soon. I can't wait to see these guys come in. And then defensively, too, just so many guys. We know that 2025 is, like, Oregon's best class maybe ever. 2026 could be up there. We'll see how early these guys plays, how much of an impact they make. But, once again, early signing day with Dan is never boring. So I'm excited for next week. I'm kind of nervous just for the amount of work. Like, early signing day is hellish for my job at least. But it's always fun for sure.
Well, and it's just a reminder of, like, there's going to be... We talked about this when Fields and... why can't I think of the other guy now? Who entered the portal? Florence, who entered the portal a month ago or so. Like, we're going to lose players who were ranked highly or who are going to be good players elsewhere. And rather than freak out, just be grateful that you have a Finney and an Iffy and an Offord who are freshmen. Like, what do you expect these guys to do? I mean, this is just a different day and age, and you're bringing in guys every year who are going to compete as freshmen to play. So you're going to lose players. You're probably going to watch them on Saturday nights sometimes doing well at other schools, and credit to them. Like, you made the right choice. I mean, I don't really know the days of expecting a guy to sit for 3 years and wait his turn and get on the field is just not a realistic thing anymore.
I mean, look at Roderick Pleasant. He's doing, like, really well down at UCLA. I saw some coverage grades for him recently. It's like, good for him, man. He went and found his spot, and I think he's playing really well. I'm proud of him, happy for guys that can find their opportunity elsewhere. That's what the portal is for, so I think they're using it wisely.
You bring up UCLA. I got to ask Geoff something about that. Geoff, give me your thoughts on Rose Bowl versus SoFi as a LA boy.
I mean, I think they should build a stadium on campus. That's the issues with SoFi. Well, the issue with the Rose Bowl are the same as they are at SoFi, except it's a little bit closer. The home field atmosphere is not going to be there because it's SoFi Stadium. You're the third tenant there. The issues with traffic are sort of still the same. The concerns about, I guess, concessions are better and bathrooms are better. Like, congratulations on those things. But the Rose Bowl, at least you knew was yours. There was some idea of, like, we're playing the Rose Bowl today. It feels like a big game. Going to SoFi is going to feel like any bowl game. Like, you're just playing in someone else's stadium. It's not your place to be, and there's not going to be excitement for it. Look, Drake Stadium is on campus. I get people in Bel Air don't want. Suck it up, Bel Air. It's 8 games a year, maybe 7 games a year. Like, you can be fined 7 times a year. Yeah, there's no parking. Well, guess what? There's no parking for 20,000 fans to show up to Plaza Pavilion. I don't know what you want. You figure it out, right? It's not like Autzen has parking for 60,000 fans, right? You figure it out. So, I think it's dumb. I think they should build a campus on stadium. They should use all that money that they're paying the Rose Bowl, get that lease, to start planning an on-campus stadium.
Yeah, don't disagree. Excuse me. Let's get into our airwaves. Travis, what do we got?
I have another question for Geoff, which is a personal question that I'll ask him about UCLA as well. Who do you think they should hire as head coach?
I think they should hire Ryan Silverfield. They're not going to do it, I don't think, because I don't think he's going to UCLA. I don't know why I don't know why Golish and Morris got a job ahead of Silverfield. All he does is beat them, and he's put a bunch of pros out. His offense are good every year. It doesn't make any sense. It sounds like the betting favorite right now is Tommy Rees. That feels odd.
Really?
Sean Lewis would be interesting at San Diego State. No one talks about this enough, I think, but, like, what an indictment that Dion couldn't get Sean Lewis to work for him, and he's worked everywhere else he's been. Like, that, it's wild to me. Like, and so Sean Lewis would be interesting. UCLA is just such a different job, right? Like, again, the NIL money is starting to come in a little bit more, but you're in a tough spot with your stadium. You're not going to get as many kids into school as you get in other places. You're not the best team in your own city as far as college football. You're not the best team on the West Coast or even close to it. It's a very difficult job. That I thought Deshaun Foster was the right type of hire for them. But I personally as well like young upcoming FCS coach. Like, that feels like a good spot for a coach like that. I don't know who the right coach is for that, but it feels like that would be a spot for that. Tommy Rees doesn't make sense. I don't really understand Tommy. It doesn't make sense why he would go there.
I think Chesney would be good. I don't
He'd
know.
be great.
I don't know if he's gonna take that Penn State job or what's gonna shake out with that, but I think he'd be great.
Okay, I have a question for Geoff real quick too. Chip Kelly available. Where do you want to see him go? Do you care at all?
To me, Chip is destined for senior analyst role for the rest of his career. Like that's just like you bring him in. Like maybe Oregon brings him in for the postseason. Hey, Chip, like you've coached a lot of football. Like what do you see here? I don't think he's ever going to be an OC again. He's not going to be head coach again. But I think he will do the senior analyst role, NFL, college. Like he obviously knows what he's doing. I think he's best when he has paired with someone that can do the pass game with him. But the Raiders have no offensive line. Their quarterback stinks and no wide receivers. Like there was no way for him to be good at this job. But I think like senior analyst is the way to go with him, and he can take that. We don't have to recruit, just help the coaching staff. That feels like his role in the future.
Okay.
All right, let's get to our actual listeners rather than me and you just yakking all day, Zach. Question for Geoff. Would love a general overview of thoughts on how Crater played, specifically how he compares to World, and if you think he can be the guy next year.
So I had a heads up about 3 days beforehand. I never even shed this. I don't even shed this on anything. So I got a text from someone that it was like, hey, what do you think of Fox Crater? I was like, what am I supposed to think about Fox Crater? He goes, well, he might start at left tackle this week. I said, oh, okay, that's not good, but let me take a look at Fox Crater. So I watched Rutgers and Minnesota. I actually thought the whole time that was Ferguson, not Crater, by the way. So I 56, 59, like I was, and my takeaway was very athletic. He's trying to do the right things, but just sort of not ready for a full-time game yet. And after watching him against USC, they did a good job of helping him with some scheme stuff, right? And when you stay ahead of the chains, you're out of the spot you don't want to be in, which is third and long, right? Like those are the spots with young guys you worry about the most. But I think he showed good balance, good power. He's still young. Like there's some things to work on with finish and where your hips are going to be and where your feet are supposed to be at the end of a block. But no, one mental error I think I saw, I think actually the first play, they ran a stretch to the left and it was a tackle for loss, and I think Crater had an MA on that one. It was early in the game. But mental was good. Like I thought it was a very good job. And I'd be excited about him as if he's got to get stronger. Like he's young. Those are things that happen over time. But it was a very good performance for his first start.
All right, question from Josh. I mean, we already kind of touched on this a little bit. Where is Washington a better matchup for us compared to USC, and where are they a worse matchup compared to USC?
Well, they can't pass the ball.
Game.
They can't pass the ball like Oregon can, like SC can. But SC's passing game is just like throw a go route. Like it's just dumb offense.
It's the Joe Flacco DPI offense.
I mean, correct. And all those balls were underthrown too. That's one thing too. He never threw a pass like when Dante Moore threw the pass that was the PI at the end of the game to Benson. Was it Benson? I think the ball hit Benson in his hands in front of him. Like it was a good pass.
It's leading him. Yeah.
Right. All the Marvel ones were behind the wide receiver. They were terrible passes. I mean, look, I just worry about Damon Williams' ability to run. Like that's what I worry about the most. But like, I'm trying to think of the last couple of years. Have we had Mendoza got us a little bit? I don't think we thought he could run like that. But, like, when have we really been beaten by quarterback scrambles? It's, like, not a thing that I think...
Didn't Fowler do it a little bit last year in the title game?
Yeah, probably.
I think a little bit.
It's just... It's generally hard to stop. You know, like, that's... And we limit explosive runs and put them in third and longs. I think we're going to be fine. Again, the noise, the environment. But I feel like we're so locked in right now. And we're going to get the uniform update today, probably. I would imagine that all white probably bust those out again, or
this episode
do you know?
Drop? I don't know.
Do you know? Do you guys know what it is?
Talk. Yeah, we'll talk.
Oh, is it? We got a special uniform today?
No, it's not special.
Oh.
I know I can give you the answer, but I think this pod is going to drop before it comes out, so I don't want to ruin it for him.
Oh, I don't have a special uniform. So I was looking forward to the shoe dog ones are good. I'm actually surprised how much we use the white helmet. I didn't think we'd use it at all.
I love them. The marbles, they
put
the wings on them. I love it. Yeah.
The first white. You remember the first white helmet we ever had?
Yes.
No.
I remember the first yellow helmet.
Yeah, the yellow. The
ugliest thing I've ever seen.
The one we wore those in the BYU the Vegas Bowl.
With
flames, with the pink flames on it, the white pink flames.
Those
Atrocious uniforms.
I think I just need this weekend to be like you guys down in 07 in Seattle, Jeff.
That game we were like tied in the fourth quarter though.
What was the final rushing total?
We had 465, but I think it was 31-31. Like we were up big, they came way back, and then we scored 4 times in a row to end the game. So, I just want to look. I think I know I'm being confident. The things that have cost this team in the past have been Ohio State's passing game, have been Michael Penix's passing game. Like that's not what Washington is. It's what USC was and didn't matter. Like that's where we're at right now. So I feel very comfortable about how this game is going to go.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, last one here. We can start with you, Zach, and then we'll go to Jeff and to me. If you could pick 2 teams that you definitely did not want to see in the playoffs and 2 teams that you feel confident playing in the playoffs, what would each of those 2 be?
I mean, I definitely don't want to see Ohio State, and I definitely don't want to see Georgia.
Yep. Those are great answers.
The 2 easy picks. I would love. I mean, there's easy answers for teams that I do want to see, but I'm going to take like the answers from teams that like actually good teams that you could see in the second or third round. I would love to see Texas A&M. I don't think they're a good team. I don't think they've played anybody. I would like to see, if you went up against the Texas Tech, I would like to see Indiana again. I know we lost.
Yes.
I know it was on the home field. I think they're right in that game. I think they can beat them. So those are my answers for who I'd want to see, A&M and Indiana.
You're right about who you don't want to see. Absolutely agree. I think Notre Dame wouldn't be great. I think Notre Dame is a tough match for anyone. Their offense lines, like they run the ball so well. They play keep away so well. Carr is good. I want to play Indiana again so badly. I think we just like owe them, man. Like we just owe Indiana. I thought again the game plan. I thought our offense just wasn't good enough off that bye. It was very surprising. And the other team, I would. A&M is probably the right choice as far as teams ahead of us that you would like to see if you had a choice. I would not want to play Bama, I don't think. I don't care. Bama's so up and down. Oklahoma would be tough with their defense. That'd be a tough match. They can't score, though. Oklahoma can't score. Yeah. So I think those are the right answers.
That's the interesting thing about like that chunk of teams, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, like in that range. Those teams have really good defenses, but they just struggle to move the ball.
Correct.
So I got to think we could score enough to win those games. I mean, I don't know. The only one I would add to your Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State is like, as you said, maybe Bama. I just have DeBoer PTSD in my head.
Fair.
After some, I think they can do some stuff in the pass game that would maybe test us like USC did. But I'm right there with you on the Tech, Indiana. If we can somehow end up on that Tech, Indiana, A&M side of the bracket, I think that you're in a really good situation.
And then you look at some of those potential first-round matchups like Pitt, Virginia, Duke, Vandy, USF, Memphis, like Tulane. Good Lord. SMU.
It'd be awesome.
Would love those.
And I know a lot of Duck fans and a lot of people are like excited about the fact that Mario would come to Eugene, but like
it's not happening.
It's not happening.
First of all, it's probably not happening. Second of all, like you don't really want that if you could play Virginia. Like there's no reason why you want to sign up to play a team like Miami that A game is very good. You never know if you're going to get it, but like why would you want to play a team with an O-line and D-line like that when you can have SMU I mean, remember how SMU looked at Penn State last year? They had no interest in playing in those weather or playing in that game.
I totally agree.
A December game in Eugene too. Like I don't think we've ever seen it before. Like a mid to late December game, like that would just
it'd be very cold,
interesting and very cold. Yeah.
Bring it on.
All right, that's all the questions, Travis.
Yep. We'll end it there.
All right, let's wrap it up there. Jeff, thank you as always for taking the time. Any big Thanksgiving plans for you?
No.
Watching football, I assume.
Watching football. I'm just so behind on because you cram everything in work-wise the first couple of days. Like I'm so behind on week prep for it. The rest of the week, looking at wagers. I think USC blows out UCLA. That's one of mine. I like, but it's just so different now with the rivalry games. Most of them happening last week in of our former teams we like, and so it'll be a lot of fun to watch. I'm looking forward to it. Football all week, right? Starting Thursday, NFL, college, and all the way through the week.
It's the best weekend. Travis, anything else to add before we get out of here?
Nope, I'm going to spatchcock my turkey right now. So
nice. I got mine defrosting, so I could cold brine it overnight and then
gotta
inject
loosen
it
up my muscles to break that back. So
I love it.
That's great. All right, check us out on YouTube. Find the Ducks Rising podcast on Apple or Spotify. And if you'd be so kind, give us a rating and review. But most importantly, go over to Lockerverse and check out Ducks Rising. Subscribe now and support the program. Let's rise together. We'll talk to you guys next week.